you last time we sat down for an interview if you were going to pardon yourself. You said no. But now that President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, are you reconsidering? Might you pardon yourself?
I didn't do anything wrong. I was given the option. And the lawyers told me, a very specific lawyer, I don't have to go into who, but very high up in the administration said, sir, if you pardon yourself, you're going to look guilty. And you did nothing wrong. Oh, I had that option. I could have saved myself a lot of legal fees, but it turned out that I was right. Look at what's gone on. Everything's being dropped. I still have.
Exactly. And that's what we're telling y'all. We're wondering how, well, you naysayers don't understand. Do you not understand that every time one of his felonies or one of his cases, his convictions go to appeals, it gets dropped? The last thing that went to appeals, they were thinking about like Loki confiscating people, or I'm sorry, but like, what was it here? Sanctioning, or what was the word here? I think they said they was about to sanction some of these lawyers, or pretty much punish them for even bringing this up because it was seen as a political hit job. They literally asked these lawyers or these prosecutors, like, when in history can you give another example where somebody was brought up for the same charges as Donald Trump and it being brought as a felony? Can you name another example of where this has happened? And they couldn't. That's why they was like, yeah, this seems politically motivated, because if it wasn't Donald Trump, this wouldn't be a felony. It'd be a misdemeanor.
Have a Fonnie Willis, a total hoax. That's a total hoax. It's all being dropped. It's all been discredited. It's been dropped. There are those people that say, and this would be the first time in history, that all of those fake indictments, they were going after a political opponent. There are those that say that I actually did better in the election because of it. Now, that would be a first. I think you would agree, because normally that's like, you go back to the microphones, you say, I'm leaving right now. I will leave office. I'm going back to my family and I will fight for my name. Well, I had to fight for my name in public because I didn't leave office. But no, I didn't want to pardon, and I didn't want to pardon myself. I had the option to pardon myself.
And you don't want one now? You're not going to pardon yourself now?
What do I need one for? First of all, I've won almost all of the cases.
What if President
and the ones
Biden...
that I didn't win are on resuscitation.
What if President Biden offered you a pardon? Would you accept it?
All right, man. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel if you're feeling the content, man. We appreciate y'all here at S.E.T Media. And also double tap that screen and like the video, or the 3 dots up there in the corner, man. Let's keep it going, guys. All right, let's go. And let's make sure we're still good here. Perfect.
I've never even thought about it. I don't think he'll do it. Look, if he did, he's the one that started this whole thing. He got the Justice Department to go after me. And the state cases are all being run by the Justice Department, which is illegal. They had their people from the Justice Department work for Alvin Bragg in order to get something going. They worked for Letitia James in the state. He had his people go from the federal government and take lesser jobs in the state in order to get done.
And you know he denies he had anything to do with it.
No, you can't deny it. You know why?
Yeah.
Because they were there. Wait a minute. Wait. You know, you have a tendency to sort of like slough over things. You just made a statement. His person,
sure do.
the top, maybe the second or third person, left the federal government, the DOJ, and went to work for Letitia James. And then, after they got that one started, went to work for the DA.
Let me ask you about some of this new reporting. NBC News is reporting that President Biden is considering giving preemptive pardons to the likes of Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, and Anthony Fauci. If President Biden doesn't issue those pardons, do you think they are going to wish that he had? Are they going to be pursued?
I can tell you
I mean, I would hope they would, especially Fauci. Fauci, yeah, he's going to wish that Biden pardoned him. Everybody else, I'm not too sure about. I'd have to look into. But Fauci, yeah, for sure. That man need to be brought up on charges, like for real. But the rest of them, who knows? I mean, Jack Smith needs to be brought up on charges for the misuse of, the DOJ. Yeah, for sure. He needs to be brought up on charges. But then again, like I said, as soon as Trump goes after Jack Smith, then, he's going after his political opponents. But if he goes after Fauci, I'm going to be real with you. Hey, that's not really a political opponent.
This about Cheney, and she's a so-called Republican. I think she hurt the Democrats terribly. When I saw that Kamala put Cheney out on the campaign trail. I said, that's the end of Kamala. I really did. I thought it was a terrible move, especially if you're a Democrat. But Cheney did something that's inexcusable, along with Thompson and the people on the Unselect Committee of political thugs and, creeps. So the Unselect Committee went through a year and a half of testimony. Wait, they deleted and destroyed all evidence of that they found. You know why? Because Nancy Pelosi was guilty. Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 troops. You wouldn't have had a J6 because other people were guilty. The people that said that I attacked 2 Secret Service agents in a car. I grabbed one around the neck. I was then rebuffed, and I grabbed the other one. These are 2 of the toughest men anywhere on the planet. They happen to be slightly younger than me, maybe, just a little bit. Let me just tell you. They testified. They said it was total. And all of this stuff came out. People lied so badly.
Hold on. So y'all pretty much said that Trump assaulted some of his own people, and Trump is going like, bro, not only are these people like the same size as me, but they're younger than me. My old ass hurting these guys are younger than me. First off, and why would I even do that? That's the crazy thing. They made up the most craziest lies about this man. And I'm gonna be real with you, it's kind of crazy how y'all Dems will be offended if he went after anybody. Bro, it's defamation out the ass at this point. Bro, it's an abuse of the justice system. Bro, this is like, I'm gonna be real with you. This is literally character defamation. They're going after him only because he's Trump, only because he's running for president. And now that he won, I hope y'all is tucking y'all tail scared, running scared to Biden, going like, hey, yo, pardon me. I hope y'all are.
Now, listen, this was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir?
And Cheney was behind it.
Well,
and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee.
We're going to.
For what they did,
Yeah.
honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think
should
everybody
go to jail?
anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and
No,
your attorney
no.
general to send them to
No,
jail?
not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going
I
to.
mean, did he do it to Hillary? I'd ask her. I hear right there and then, like, well, did I do it to Hillary? After Hillary got caught doing all that wild stuff, hiding evidence and all that wild shit, I didn't lock her up. I'm just saying. I'm thinking Trump is pretty much just saying that, yeah, everybody on that January 6th thing should be held culpable. Is like, y'all honestly ignored the facts of the case. Y'all ignored the facts that Nancy Pelosi was supposed to be the one who had the National Guard over there, but she didn't. Bro, they are basically the charges or was being accused is that they let it happen. And they let it happen knowing that they were going to blame it on Trump. And the fact that Nancy Pelosi is on camera pretty much saying that, oh, it's my fault. We should have had those people ready. We knew there was going to be a protest, but we didn't have the National Guard there. Nor did we act for backup for the police, for the Capitol Police.
I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that,
On
it carries
strengthening the
weight, though. You've tapped these people to lead the Justice Department and FBI.
They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
Biden can give him a pardon if he wants to, and maybe he should. Just remember, Unselect Committee, a year and a half of sworn testimony, and after getting all of the testimony, they deleted it. Wait. And they destroyed almost everything. There's nothing left. It's unprecedented.
And they deny
if you
doing
do that in a civil case, you go to jail.
They deny doing that. And officials say that the order never came in for
They
the
put
National
out
Guard.
a statement.
On January 6th, let me ask you this about January 6th. I think
Benny
you're going to want to
Thompson
answer
wrote in a
this.
statement that he has destroyed all evidence.
Let me ask you this about
It's
January
amazing.
6th.
I wish you could be you have such potential. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly.
Damn.
I'm telling you, they deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows it. And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm
If
just
I
saying
did
they
it-
deny it. That's all.
Bro, and this is why he's my president, bro. Because only he would sit there and just be like, stop mid-interview, like, bro, sweetheart, you're doing yourself an injustice by coming after me like this. You're doing yourself an injustice by showing your bias. Like, You're really going to hang me up on what? Me coming after them when they've came after me this entire time? Like, really, was the impeachment not a misuse of justice? Was covering up this whole starting this whole Russian collusion thing just so they can hide the Hunter Biden laptop? What, you tell me that's not a misuse of justice? You tell me that's not going after political opponents? But you want to come in here before I'm even sitting in office and talked about, oh, are you going to come after your political opponents? I'm like, they came after me. Like, shit. I mean, they'd be lucky if I don't.
I'm saying,
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me.
let me
They have done something so illegal. They have a committee sworn to, and because it was so bad, the only reason they did it is because the testimony turned out to be in favor of me. Like Secret Service testified and disputed everything. It made them into a bunch of liars. Not Secret Service, it made the people. They got rid of it because it made Nancy Pelosi, the mayor of DC, so many people look like criminals. And I will tell you, it's illegal for them to delete and to destroy that evidence.
Let me ask you about January 6th in a different capacity, okay? I think you're going to want to answer this question. You promised to pardon those who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. Are you still vowing to follow through with that promise?
We're looking at it right now, most likely, yeah.
Well,
those people have suffered long and hard, and there may be some exceptions to it. I have to look. But, if somebody was radical, crazy, there might be some people from Antifa there. I don't know, because those people seem to be in good shape. Whatever happened to Scaffold Man? You know who Scaffold Man was? He stood on a scaffold telling everybody to go and nothing happened to him. Whatever happened to Ray Epps? Now, I don't know anything about Ray Epps, but it was sort of strange the way he was talking. Where is he? What happened to him? Because the people that...
And if you did watch that, the timeline of January 6th with us, Ray Epps was an agitator in there. Everybody was trying to have a peaceful protest, but this guy, Ray Epps, in the crowd, it was pretty much saying, oh, we need to breach the Capitol. We need to breach the Capitol. We need to breach the doors. And this man was saying this hours before the act was even committed. And even in the crowd, they was trying to call this man out as a Fed. Why? Because everybody wants to come to the peaceful protest, but this man's over here trying to agitate everybody. And even Trump supporters at this point know that, they already want to paint us in a bad light. They're going to do anything to paint us in a bad light. So falling into their trap and going ahead and riding like they expect us to is not a very smart thing to do. Even in January 6th, Trump supporters knew that. That's why they had to bring out Ray Epps, who, AKA, let's say FBI informant, CIA informant, who knows, allegedly, right? Allegedly. He goes out there and he agitates these people. He's one of the front people on the line trying to bust down the barricade. Yeah, that man was in a lot of places. All over. But we don't mention his name, though, no more. Isn't that crazy? And shout out Mike G, man. Radical Crazy Nancy, man. The backstabber to Joe Biden. Yeah, she backstabbed that boy Biden. I mean, she went from saying, oh, yeah, she's sharp as a thumbtack. Don't worry, he's going to be able to beat Trump. So, yeah, we need to get him up out of there. We need a better candidate. And then here's the effed up part. Biden screws them over by appointing Kamala, the candidate they don't want.
Did very little. They arrested an old woman because I don't think she did anything. They don't even know what she did. These people have suffered. Their lives have been destroyed. And yet in Portland, where they burn down half the city, they burn it down all the time. It's like a, routine occurrence. They don't do anything. They attacked the courthouse, federal courthouse. They always say federal building. Okay. They destroyed the beautiful limestone exterior of the courthouse in Portland. They killed people in Portland. Seattle, people got killed in Seattle. They took over a big chunk of the city. They took it over. They took the city away. Minneapolis, it looked like when they said this is a friendly protest, and yet over the poor slobs from CNN, his shoulder, the entire city was burning down. It looked like World War II. Nothing happened. But wait, nothing happened. They took over the police station. They took over the police station in Minneapolis. They burned it down. Nothing.
Oh, yeah. And before y'all try to come at, my neck, why don't y'all look up? The information's out there. Timeline of January 6th. Give you the exact timeline from the protest was beginning to start all the way until the end, until all lives were lost and all that good stuff. So before you come at my neck, why don't y'all look at the actual facts of January 6th? Could you be surprised to know that, yes, everybody there was on the premise of peaceful protest? There was no handguns carried by any of the protesters. There's a lot of lies they tell you to make it okay with what they did to these people. But that's the Democratic Party. They'll lie about people, they'll throw a blanket over their problems just so they can maintain control or win a point.
Happened to
I
anybody.
just want to,
And yet these people
yeah.
have been in jail. And I hear that jail is a hellhole. They've done reports, and you would say that's true. They've done reports. This is the most disgusting, filthy place. These people are living in hell.
Let me
And
just,
I think it's very unfair.
But-
So
but-
yeah,
but let
most
me-
likely I'll do it very quickly.
very quickly. Okay. But some of them, 169 of them, have pleaded guilty to assaulting police
Because
officers.
they had no choice.
900 pleaded guilty to other crimes. They're also going to be eligible for a pardon from you?
Listen, it's a very tough system. Do you know almost nobody? I saw people that didn't even go into the building and they were convicted.
Yep.
And you had the police saying, come on in, come on in. I mean, you know, the police.
Bro, they didn't raise one of the door gates for them. The police told them to come in. There are people who went to jail who didn't even go inside the building. That's what I'm saying. There's a whole lot of stuff that you Dems try to say that, oh, they all deserve it, but there's some inexcusable things that you guys did not look into. And it's a gross mishandling of justice. And honestly, they just threw away these people's rights to a fair and speedy trial. I'll be real with you. So a lot of these people ain't even get a trial yet. Some of these people are rights have been infringed upon. And y'all don't care. You want to know why? Because it's so anti-Trump that y'all don't care that they're low-key disrespecting other people's rights. As long as it's F Trump, I'll be real with you. Y'all probably be okay with the genocide of certain people. If it's still F Trump.
Police are saying, come on in, everybody, come on in. They had people, you have a lot of cameras. They don't want to release the tapes. They don't want to release the tapes.
So, but you're going to consider pardoning even those who pleaded guilty to crimes, including assaulting police
Well,
officers?
sometimes they say, here's your choice.
You're not ruling it out.
No. It's because I already know what Trump's going to say. Here's your choice. We're either going to do this or we're going to do that to you. So it's best you plead guilty. And if you ain't never been through a court system, you don't understand how these prosecutors are. It gets reckless. It gets real reckless, and it make you think you have no other choice. But you know what? We can go ahead and bring up some of these January 6ers testimonies on what they went through, or how some of them were visited by the FBI and how they were interrogated.
Look, I know the system. The system's a very corrupt system. They say to a guy, you're going to go to jail for 2 years or for 30 years. And these guys are looking, their whole lives have been destroyed. For 2 years, they've been destroyed. But the system is a very nasty system.
Okay. Let's
I'm going to look at everything. We're going to look at individual cases. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be acting very quickly.
Within your first.
And if you want to go on the argument that I say that all January 6ers should be set free, no. But there are a good amount of them that need to be set free because they didn't commit any crime, but just being there. So no, we're not saying all January 6ers. That's what y'all missed the argument on. A lot of y'all missed the argument thinking that, oh, we want all January 6ers free. All of them didn't do anything. No, we want the ones who were just sitting by, who were just peacefully protesting, but who got arrested anyway, who got treated like they were the agitators. We want them free. Get it right. Get the argument correct, guys, okay? Don't be coming in here thinking that you know the argument when you don't.
First 100 days, first day?
First day.
First day.
Yeah, I'm looking
Can
first
issue
day.
these pardons.
These people have been there. How long is it? 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
By the way, they've been in there for years.
And this is a call-in show. So all you naysayers, if you want to go ahead and send in 5, we'll go ahead and host your call-in for the debate. If not, one of the supporters may be happy to go ahead and pay for you, depending, you never know. But if not, though, just lay back, double tap the screen, and hopefully we can get more people who think like you in the chat. Let's go.
And they're in a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open.
Let's talk about your cabinet picks. I know we started off.
And shout out Leo, man. Welcome to the family, Leo. Join the insider package. Appreciate you, my man.
Off talking about Pete Hegseth, but I just want to return to that very quickly. Have you gotten assurances from senators that he's going to be confirmed? Do you think he can make it?
No, I think you will. Yeah. I've had a lot of senators.
Adam, I'm sorry, but don't ever lie like that in your life, bro. Don't ever lie like that in your life, my man. Bro, there's been calling people who do calling shows where you don't get a call in unless you hit a certain goal before at a certain time. Don't ever lie like that now, man. You can go ahead and say whatever you want, but please don't lie like that on the channel. Don't ever say, oh, this is the only calling show you got to pay. I'm like, bro, really? There are calling shows. There's channels I've seen that you can't call in unless you're like a supporter, a member, you've donated more than this and that. Like, I've heard it all. Come on.
Senators call me up saying he's fantastic.
Don't do it.
You
dirty
don't
like
drink
that, no.
yourself.
No.
You've talked about how devastating drinking can be.
I'm a nice guy.
How concerned are you that the
really.
person who you picked for this top job at the Defense Department, at least according to those who've worked with him, has struggled with drinking?
But I've spoken to people that know him very well, and they say he does not have a drinking problem.
Got you, Jazz.
And, he had a lot of knives out for him. A lot of people don't want to see the military made better.
Let me ask you about former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. You picked her to be the Director of National Intelligence.
Right.
In 2017, she had 2 secret meetings with Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. Do you have questions or concerns about those meetings?
No. And he's got bigger problems right now.
Well, do you think it makes it hard for her?
His country is collapsing.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it compromises her ability to
I met
handle
with
that?
Putin. I met with President Xi of China. I met with Kim Jong-un twice. Does that
When
mean
you
that
were
I can't be
president.
president?
Well, when you were president, they
Oh,
weren't
I know,
secret
but look,
meetings.
People meet. All these people meet. I mean, I see some of the most dishonest people. I'll tell you, the 50
secret meetings. I mean, I'd hit her with they can't be so secret if you're finding out about them. That's what I'd hit her with. I mean, they can't be that secret if you're finding out about them. Don't you think if the world leaders wanted to have a secret meeting, we could without none of y'all noticing all the intelligence services we have at hand? Really? You think we would just have a meeting and it be secret? And y'all gonna find, like, come on. I mean, let's be real. Some of us don't even know that when they're meeting up for the World Economic Forum. Some of us don't even know we definitely don't know when the Illuminati meets up. So who's to know when world leader meets up? So when these world leader when these world leader meets up, who's to say they're not meeting up in secret? Who's to say they've not already had 3 other meetings already in secret? Just the one we found out about. I mean, come on now, the world leaders.
problem. And, he had a lot of knives out for him. A lot of people don't want to see the military made better.
Let me ask you about former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. You picked her to be the Director of National Intelligence.
Right.
In 2017, she had 2 secret meetings with Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad. Do you have questions or concerns about those meetings?
No. And he's got bigger problems right now.
Well, do you think it makes it hard for her?
His country is collapsing.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it compromises her ability to handle that?
I met with Putin. I met with President Xi of China. I met with Kim Jong-un twice. Does that mean that I can't be president?
Well, when you were president, they weren't
I know,
secret
but look,
meetings.
people meet. All these people meet. I mean, I see some of the most dishonest people. I'll tell you, the 51 agents.
I mean, Nancy Pelosi's inside trading. Wouldn't that require some secret meetings to get across? So hold on. That's kind of crazy. So when Nancy Pelosi holds secret meetings to defraud the American people, but these people hold secret meetings to go ahead and negotiate foreign affairs, that's crazy. It's like, so y'all have a problem with negotiating foreign affairs, but y'all have a problem with secret meetings to defraud the American people? Yeah, I need to, man, come on now.
That said that the laptop wasn't from Hunter, it was from Russia. What about them? Tell me about them. Do you think they did something wrong? Do you think they were all so stupid that they thought that the laptop from hell?
So you have confidence in Tulsi Gabbard?
Bro, hold on. I have confidence in Tulsi Gabbard because she's done more than the people who's accused her. She's actually fought for this country. She's seen war and what it does. She's seen the fall of countries that we have no business taking down. She's seen the corruption in war. So we want to sit here and say that, oh, she worked for Russia. It's damn near disrespectful. It's like, oh, okay, so everybody we disagree with works for Russia now? Even a soldier that fought for you, that fought for the American people, now works for Russia because what? She disagrees with how you feel about Putin? How you feel about a certain war? Really? It's dishonorable. Honestly, it's damn near treasonous. You turn your back on the person who fought for you because of what? Difference in opinions?
I do. So does she's a very respected person.
Let me ask you about
I mean, Chris, you're not stripping anything down, dog. Only your narcissism is letting you believe that, okay? So chill out. If you were really stripping something down, you would pay that $5 and you would hop your ass on here. Otherwise, you could stay a coward in the comment section. thinking that you're doing something.
RFK Jr. He has obviously talked about his skepticism of vaccines. He's expressed opposition to childhood vaccines. Do you want to see childhood vaccines eliminated?
If they're dangerous for the children. Look,
So possibly?
when you look at some of the problems, when you look at what's going on with disease and sickness in our country, something's wrong.
Are you talking about autism?
Well, if you take a look at autism, you go back 25 years, autism was almost non-existent. It was, 1 out of 100,000. And now it's close to 1 out of 100.
Well,
I mean, what's happening? If they can find it. Now, I did something the other night that was a little unusual. At Mar-a-Lago, I called the drug companies, the top drug companies, and I called RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz and some of his people. And I said, let's all get together and let's figure out where we're going. Because we're going to do a lot of things. Number one, we're going to reduce prices because the middleman makes more money than the drug companies, in all fairness to the drug companies. There's a middleman that nobody even knows who they are. And you look at our drug prices, they're much higher than the prices for the same medicine, for the same stuff. So we met, and we met for a long time. And we talked about pricing, and we talked about vaccines, in terms of what happens. We talked about pesticides. We talked about everything. And I think a lot of good things are going to come from him. And he's not going to upset any system. He's not going to upset this. He's not looking to, to reinvent the wheel totally. But when you look at the numbers, we really don't have a very healthy country.
Well, sir, going back 25 years, studies show that there is no link between vaccines and autism. And yet it sounds like you are open to the possibility.
Are you? Studies show. Now, studies also show that, yes, there was an increase of autism after certain vaccines were put in place. I hit them back with their own medicine. I'd be like, well, my studies show, and not just my studies, but I ain't gonna lie, peer-reviewed studies show, medical studies show that, yes, after this certain vaccine, autism rates increase. Please tell me who the hell you getting your studies from, and we can debate it. We can debate who's the more reputable source, or we could cut the bullshit. We could have the sources of each, I guess, peer paper or peer review come up here and debate it. But we ain't about to sit here and just read off, well, my study says this, your study says that. We ain't doing that.
Ability of him looking
I'm
at
open to
getting rid of
anything.
them?
I think somebody has to find out. If you go back 25 years ago, you had very little autism. Now you have it. I mean,
Well, they say because they're better at identifying it.
1 in 100,000, and now it's 1 in 100. That's a pretty bad number.
Childhood vaccines.
I mean, something is going on. I don't know if it's vaccines. Maybe it's chlorine in the water, right? People are looking at a lot of different things.
Childhood
I
vaccines.
want them to look at everything.
Everything. So childhood vaccines have prevented about 4 million deaths around the world every year.
I think that's
Okay, so first off, I literally have to ask for the logic trail on that. So they prevented death how? So how do you know that if we did not give this child this vaccine, it was going to die? So you're pretty much assuming, you're making the assumption for every unvaccinated child is destined to death. And I mean, everybody who lives is destined to die. So what is this going off of? Like, I would actually answer that question, not have to poke so many holes in what you just said right there. I mean, like, what you mean? They didn't save 4 million lives. I mean, ma'am, you giving somebody a vaccine doesn't save their lives. It just means that you jabbed them with a vaccine and they're still alive. That's all you're telling me.
it's
So
great.
isn't that-
I'm all for it. I think it's great. Hey, look, I'm not against vaccines. The polio vaccine is the greatest thing. If somebody told me get rid of the polio vaccine, they're going to have to work real hard to convince me. I think certain vaccines are incredible, but maybe some aren't. And if they aren't, we have to find out. But when you talk about autism, because it was brought up, and you look at the amount we have today versus 20 or 25 years ago, it's pretty scary.
Well, again, scientists say that's because they've gotten better at
I think we're gonna
identifying it,
know.
and there's
Yeah.
no link in
But
studies.
the drug
sir.
companies are going to.
Yeah, no, sweetheart. I can't believe y'all scientists. I mean, we're talking about the same people who I'm just sorry, but with the Democrat, y'all science, the whole trust of science with Anthony Fauci, y'all should shut the hell up. At this point, let's believe the scientists actually got some sense. Because it does kind of seem like, for one scientist who says that, yeah, autism increased after a certain vaccine came out, and then there's always another scientist, oh, what you mean? There's no link to that. There's no link at all. I'm like, okay, well, instead of y'all out here pretty much telling us about these peer reviews or these scientists that you read up on, I would have these scientists come to the board and be like, look, both of y'all come here and tell us how you came to this point. Or maybe these guys need to go ahead and do more research into these studies and tell us how they were constructed. Tell us what was the sample sizes, because a lot of y'all bring up these studies. You can't tell us nothing about how it was ran.
Going to be working with RFK Jr. and he's been an interesting guy to me. I've watched him for 25 years. And he's been an interesting guy.
Let's talk about Elon Musk, another interesting person.
He's very interesting.
Last month, one of your allies said, quote, he's behaving as if he's a co-president. Will you favor Elon Musk over other leaders of competitor companies like Jeff Bezos, Mary Barra?
No, there's just one thing that him and Elon Musk got in common. They're both socialites. They both like to be seen in the public sphere. Him and, I'm being real with you, him and Trump. It's like that. They're just socialites. And I'm gonna be real with you. Most of the time when Elon Musk is out, you see the dude out there with his kid taking pictures. It's a social matter at this point. I mean, they're at UFC together. Everything's been more social. We haven't been seeing anything administrative because, well, they're not in office yet. I'm pretty sure when Trump's in office, you're gonna see a lot less of them together. You're gonna see a lot less clips of, or a lot less appearances of Musk and Trump together.
No, Jeff Bezos called me. We're having dinner. As you know, Mark Zuckerberg came in. We had a really nice dinner. He asked to have dinner. I had dinner with him. I'm having dinner with everybody. People like me now. It's something going on that people. I said, would you have come to dinner with me if I lost? I think the answer is no. I said nicely, kiddingly, of course, because I don't want to sound foolish. But I say jokingly, would you have been here at dinner if I lost? And the answer was probably not. Look, I'm getting called by everybody. It's very interesting. It's different than the first. When I won the first time, I wasn't nearly as popular as this. And one thing that's very important in terms of the election, I love that I won the popular vote, and by a lot. If I didn't,
1.6%.
because they would go
by a lot, 1.6%. Really? Okay. 76 million people. I still won by some millions, lady. I'd have hit it with that. I still won by millions, though, right? Right, still millions. All right, 1.6%. That's millions, right? Okay.
With the other one,
I'd have been petty. I'd have been a bit petty. I'm not even gonna lie, because he said 1.6%, and that might be true. I'd probably give it to her and say that's true, but I've been like, yeah, it's still millions of people, though.
when they say, while he didn't win the popular vote, he won a lot of. I won a lot of the Electoral College, but
I mean, yeah, you got to give the Electoral College, man. My man was at 300, while Kamala was at a steady 244. I'm sorry, 224, 226. Yeah, that's a blowout.
But they would always preface it by saying, now they say he won the popular vote and he won the Electoral College and he won all 7 swing states.
He did.
That was a great election.
Very quickly, because we're going to talk about the election coming up.
All
but
right.
You've tapped Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy.
And it is crazy that they're talking about that because, so funny. The Dems do not want to let go of that. I mean, epic loss with the popular vote because they won it last time with Hillary. Like, it's damn near part of their identity for them to feel like, oh, no, we got the people. He just got the electoral. It's like, no, y'all lost the people too now. And here's the proof. Let me show y'all proof that y'all lost the people. Because how in God's name, right? Because, he only lost by a little. 74.9 million, Kamala Harris, right? To 77.2 million. That's still millions of people. Majority of the map, red, right? You tap in on New York, looks red. You tap in on New Jersey, red. Bro, red. Oh, Virginia, red. This is what we're telling y'all. Y'all, it's over. It's basically over for y'all. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Y'all can talk whatever y'all want, anti-Trump, whatever. He's the president. He won. All these concept of a plans y'all was making jokes of. Oh, guess what? You about to find out what these concepts are. You're gonna find out.
To head up this Department of Government Efficiency,
correct,
which proposes cuts to the federal government. I think a lot of people hear that and they get concerned about Medicare and Social Security and
not
Medicaid
going to have anything to do.
and defense spending.
We're talking
You
about
won't touch
theft,
Medicare, Social Security.
Abuse, fraud.
Okay.
No, I said to be, we're not touching Social Security.
And what did I tell you guys? What did I tell you? I said that the Dems hang on winning the popular vote because that's what y'all got with Hillary. The fact that you lost the popular vote by a couple million people, Yeah, that says a lot. That is an epic victory for Trump. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Considering that you had 81 million too with Biden, considering that y'all won the popular vote with Hillary, so y'all won the popular vote 2 terms in a row and you lose it. Yeah, that's epic. That's an epic dub right there for Trump. I'm sorry, like it or not.
Other than we make it more efficient, but the people are going to get what they're getting.
Okay, so the entitlements
And
off
we're not raising ages or any of that stuff.
Okay,
Nope,
off the
I
table.
won't do it.
Okay, let's turn to foreign policy.
And guys, can we sit here and not be delusional? Can we sit here and not be delusional and act like Trump did not destroy Kamala Harris in every single swing state? He won the swing states, guys. There was 7 swing states, and Kamala didn't win one. One. Actually, Kamala lost states she was supposed to win. How that happen? How you do that? How you lose states that you were supposed to win? She damn near lost Virginia. So, nah, when we say it was an epic loss, it was an epic loss because there was states that went for y'all that didn't. Yeah, it says a lot.
Should Ukraine prepare for less aid from the United States after you're sworn into office?
Yeah, probably. Sure.
You've said you can end the war in
We're in for
24
350 billion, and Europe is in for 100 billion. Why isn't Europe in for the same as us? The one thing that should happen is that Europe should come in they should equalize. And, Biden, all he had to do, like I did with NATO, I said, you got to pay your bills. They weren't paying their bills. And as you know, the Secretary General said, President Trump got 600 billion, now 640 to be exact. And I used to use the 400 billion number. He corrected me. He said, no, you actually got $641 billion put in because I said you have to pay your bills. We were paying for NATO. And you know why I got the money? Because I asked for it. It wasn't that complicated. Europe is in for a fraction. And war with Russia is more important for Europe than it is for us. It's important for everybody, but it's more important for Europe than it is for us.
And you've said
we have a little thing called an ocean in between us.
You said you can end the war in 24 hours. You've even said you want to try to end it before you're sworn into office. You're actively trying to?
I am.
Have you talked to President Putin?
No, I have not.
You haven't talked to President Putin since you've been elected?
No. Well, I don't want to say that, but I haven't spoken to him recently.
So you've spoken to President Putin since you've been elected?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say anything about that because
here's the thing, though, and I'd really criticize her and even asking me that question. I'm like, why are you asking me a question that y'all are gonna criticize me on? You just asked me, all right, do you care about stopping the war? And I'm gonna tell you yes. Oh, have you talked to Putin? Well, ma'am, you just criticized me earlier in this interview for talking to any dictator, for talking to any world leader that don't align with our values. So you asking me about this war and then asking me if I talk to Putin is sort of a trick question. Because then what if I say I talked to him, then you're gonna be like, oh, so you do collude with Russia. You did collude with Russia. What, to end the war? Like, what, is that what y'all gonna try to frame now? Oh, he colluded with Russia to end Ukrainian war. I'm like, well, no shit. I would hope so.
I don't want to do anything that could impede the negotiation.
But you
I want to stop it. Let me tell you what I have talked about. Let me tell you.
Jazz, I'm going.
There are people being killed in that war at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You have to go back to the Second World War. And even that, if you take a look at, and you know what it is? It's the soldiers largely. The cities have been emptied out and demolished. The country has been demolished. If I won that election, which you know how I feel about it, I won't get into it because we don't need to start that argument. I think it's an easy argument. It was really proven even more conclusively by the win that I had on this one. But
you did
had I,
sir.
well, that's your opinion, but I disagree with it. Had I kept control, number one, Israel wouldn't have happened. Number two, Ukraine would have never happened. It would have never happened, Ukraine, Russia. But the number of people that are being killed, soldiers, young, beautiful soldiers, hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. And it's very interesting. It's level, totally level. The battlefield's totally level. You know what's happening? Yeah. The only thing that stops a bullet, you know what it is a body, a human body. And the people that are being killed, hundreds of thousands on both sides. Russia's lost probably 500,000. Ukraine's lost higher than they say, probably 400,000. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of bodies laying all over fields. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and it should have never been allowed to happen. Biden should have been able to stop it.
Sir, will the United States stay in NATO while you're in office?
In where?
NATO. Do you commit that the United States will remain a member of NATO while you're in office?
Again, they have to pay their bills. If they pay their bills, absolutely.
But not if they don't pay their bills.
But NATO's taken advantage of us because we were look, two things. Number one, they take advantage of us on trade, meaning the European nations, okay, like terrible. They don't take our cars, they don't take our food product, they don't take anything. It's a disgrace. And on top of that, we defend them. So it's a double whammy. So let me just tell you, I was able to get hundreds of billions of dollars put into NATO just by a tough attitude. I said to the countries, I'm not going to protect you unless you pay. And they started paying. And that amounted to more than $600 billion. That's a big thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be fighting. They wouldn't have any money to fight. If they're paying their bills, and if I think they're treating us fairly, the answer is absolutely.
All right. Now that I'm back here, let's see. I do want to take it back a good 2 minutes because I do see the conversation. Y'all talking about NATO, and I ain't gonna lie. If the stance is we need to stay out of war, then why the hell are we in the military alliance, which NATO is? Why are we with NATO when NATO is agitating Russia and pushing its borders on Russia? And then they want to run back to us for money and, protect us from Russia just in case. I mean, y'all ain't had no problem smacking these guys in the face as you was approaching on their borders. So why can't you fight them as well without the U.S.?
Number one, Israel wouldn't have happened. Number two,
before you're sworn into office, you're actively trying to.
I am.
Have you talked to President Putin?
No, I have not.
You haven't talked to President Putin since you've been elected?
No. Well, I don't want to say that, but I haven't spoken to him recently.
So you've spoken to President Putin since you've been elected?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say anything about that because I don't want to do anything that could impede the negotiation.
But you
I want to stop
talked
it.
about
Let me tell you what I have talked about. Let me tell you. There are people being killed in that war at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You have to go back to the Second World War. And even that, if you take a look at, and you know what it is? It's the soldiers largely. The cities have been emptied out and demolished. The country has been demolished. If I won that election, which you know how I feel about it, I won't get into it because we don't need to start that argument. I think it's an easy argument. It was really proven even more conclusively by the win that I had on this one. But
you did
had
court,
I,
sir.
Well, that's your opinion, but I disagree with it. Had I,
Well, let me take that.
Has been demolished. If I won that election, which you know how I feel about it, I won't get into it because we don't need to start that argument. I think it's an easy argument. It was really proven even more conclusively by the win that I had on this one.
Yeah.
But
you did
had
court, sir.
Well, that's your opinion, but
I mean, yeah, let's be real. I mean, Biden got 81 million. Yo, why are we missing 10 million votes? Like, what's going on? Like, what happened to these millions of U.S. citizens? What, they just go back in the basement, hide under a rock? What they do to Joe Biden's strategy, except they forgot to come out the basement? Like, come on now.
I disagree with it. Had I kept control, number one, Israel wouldn't have happened. Number two, Ukraine would have never happened. It would have never happened, Ukraine, Russia. But the number of people that are being killed, soldiers, young, beautiful soldiers, hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. And, it's very interesting. It's level. Totally level. The battlefields, totally level. You know what's happening? Yeah. The only thing that stops a bullet, you know what it is a body, a human body. And the people that are being killed, hundreds of thousands on both sides. Russia's lost probably 500,000. Ukraine's lost higher than they say, probably 400,000. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of bodies laying all over fields.
See, and this is the lie that they tell about Ukraine and Russia, because everybody keeps saying, and it's only in America where I'm hearing that, the Russian death toll is higher than the Ukrainian death toll. And I'm just like, yeah, but when I hear outside of you guys, they're saying that the Ukrainians are dead within the, like, damn near in the millions. They've surpassed 1 million bodies at this point. And Russia, they're the ones who are at 400K. So it's kind of like we get an opposite twist of the story in America, and it kind of makes sense that Russia would be winning. Like, bigger army, more technologically advanced, stronger military. So it would only make sense that they're overwhelmingly winning. I mean, does it make sense to have more casualties than the other side, but somehow the side with more casualties is taking land? Like, make that make sense.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and it should have never been allowed to happen. Biden should have been able to stop it.
Sir, will the United States stay in NATO while you're in office?
In where?
NATO. Do you commit that the United States will remain a member of NATO while you're in office?
Again,
Yeah, will the United States remain a member of NATO? You know what? I do want to get y'all thoughts on that. So let's see here. I think all we got right now is Don's. Yo, Don's, you still here? Yo, Don, you still here with me? All right, well, we'll just catch Don's on the other one. But I do want to get y'all thoughts on that. Let's get right back to it, guys.
and they have to pay their bills. If they pay their bills, absolutely.
But not if they don't pay their
But
bills.
NATO's taking advantage of us because we were look, two things. Number one,
I'm
Yo, Don.
here. I'm
Yeah.
here. Okay.
I got-
Sorry. I was in
No,
the
you're-
middle. I was trying to respond to someone in chat because someone was mentioning something about his cabinet picks. But
Well, Don, I
dude,
want to
I'm
get your quick little reply. What do you got? What do you think about the us staying in NATO? Should we just? Because honestly, my belief is that we did say no war, and NATO is only pushing and agitating, and I believe they're only doing it because they have our backing. If we take away our backing, NATO calms down.
Can I take off for the filter real quick? I'm definitely gonna make some Europeans in here angry.
Go ahead.
So my stance on this, well, first of all, every single country in NATO, you talk bad about the United States all the time, even though we fund most of the world's innovation. By the way, whenever anybody in NATO talks bad about the US or anybody talks bad about the US, you're talking on a US invention, i.e. the internet, on a keyboard, right, which was invented by America, on a cell phone, which was also invented by America, and the telephone, which was also invented by America. So essentially, what you're doing is you're a hypocrite. You're using products invented by the United States to talk bad about a country that literally fuels your lifestyle. It's really stupid. On another subject of that, you also have the whole issue where, you know, a lot of these NATO countries that have free healthcare, the only reason they have free healthcare is because we pay most of their defense budget. So the reason why a lot of these NATO countries don't want us to back out of NATO is the moment we back out of NATO, boom, bye-bye free healthcare.
So hold on. Well, we're supposed to be funding military endeavors, but they're using it for free healthcare.
More like they're using our money for military endeavors and cutting their military spending on their end, and then taking that money they cut on their military spending to pay for free healthcare. The United Kingdom does it. A lot of countries we fund through NATO do this. Also, on top of that, people like to talk about the whole crime aspect of America, which is a tangent with NATO. But the crime rate in the United Kingdom is actually higher per capita than the United States in terms of violent crime. It's like 2.6 per, like, it's like 2.6 per, like, what is it, 1,000 or 10,000 people, with a population of 130 million, while the United States has a population of 360 million, and ours is, I think, only like 1.3 or 1.6.
Well, man, shout
So-
out Don's. All right, ain't got any more?
Other than that, I have to retort something in the chat because I'm sick and tired of hearing this. Anybody here who is complaining about Trump's cabinet picks because they're white, you are racist.
Literally.
And you're declaring to the entirety of the chat that you are racist. So think that before you say it. It's one thing to argue you don't like them because of their political opinions, but the moment you bring up race, immediately you're racist against white people.
Yeah, on God. Shout out Don's, man. We'll go ahead and bring you back on later on, man. And there's not taste. Hey, you racist guys. There's not too much. Hey, it's not too late. You can still walk it back.
For real.
Because, like, come on, but and I keep saying that there's nothing wrong with Trump having all white picks. Why? Because we care about who's going to get the job done, not what's their color. Y'all playing identity politics. And did this election not just show you that identity politics is not what the American people want? Like,
For
I
real.
thought y'all learned your lesson.
DEI means didn't earn it. That's all I got to say.
Shout out Don's. All right, Don's, appreciate you. All right, let's keep it going.
when they take advantage of us on trade, meaning the European nations, okay, like terrible. They don't take our cars. They don't take our food product. They don't take anything. They take, it's a disgrace. And on top of that, we defend them. So it's a double whammy. So let me just tell you, I was able to get hundreds of billions of dollars put into NATO just by a tough attitude. I said to the countries, I'm not going to protect you unless you pay. And they started paying. And that amounted to more than $600 billion. That's a big thing. Otherwise, they wouldn't even be fighting. They wouldn't have any money to fight. If they're paying their bills, and if I think they're they're treating us fairly, the answer is absolutely, I'd stay with NATO.
But if not, you would consider the possibility of getting out.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's turn to the Middle East now, sir. There are still American hostages being held in Gaza.
Yeah.
You said this week that if the hostages aren't released before Inauguration Day, quote, there will be all hell to pay.
Correct.
What exactly did you mean? And do you still think that the hostages are alive?
I'm not a big believer in the fact that there are too many of them living, sadly.
Low key, we forgot. What about Cash Patel Vivek? Like they ain't Indian, like these guys ain't brown. They is probably sitting there just going like, "Well, shit, man. I guess we're white, man. My damn." All right, man. Yeah. Let's not forget he did pick 2 brown people, but I guess if they're not black, we can never satisfy the liberals, huh?
Because I've seen the way they've been.
I mean, they choose a fake black, but she's Indian and they're good. But we choose an Indian. We actually tell you that they're Indian and we're in the wrong. Okay.
Treated. I talk about the young girl that was pulled by her hair violently and thrown into the back of a car like she was a sack of potatoes. And I said, that's hatred. And then I said, how did that young girl do? Beautiful young girl just dragged by her hair. You remember, blood pouring all over her body. You can imagine the parents thrown into the back of a car by some horrible guy. And I said, how is she? She's dead. She died, sir. I don't think you have as many. I mean, I hate to say it. I think you have far fewer hostages than people think.
Really?
That's what I think. It's only my opinion, but
Okay.
I've been right on just about everything.
Are you going to pressure Prime Minister Netanyahu, with whom you have a very good relationship, to end the war in Gaza?
Yeah, sure.
And
I
have
want
you
him to
already
end it.
started that process?
I want him to end it, but you gotta have a victory. People forget about October 7th. That was as violent and
Oh man, we got like 400 plus y'all in here, man. Make sure to double tap that screen and like the video. Hit the 3 dots up there in the corner. And super chat, any questions, comments, or jokes you want to share with the super chat, and I'll go ahead and read it out loud. Just $1 and up super chat. We'll go ahead and get that read out loud. It's a call-in show. So $5 is enough for any non-members, or go ahead and join the membership. Go ahead and check the community tab. Appreciate y'all. Let's keep it going.
you know what's happening? I noticed that a lot of people are saying, oh, it never really happened. That's like the Holocaust. You have Holocaust deniers. Now you have October 7th deniers, and it just happened. No, October 7th happened. And I've seen the pictures. What happened is horrible.
If China invades Taiwan on your watch, are you committed to defending Taiwan?
I never say.
Still won't say.
I never say because I have to negotiate things, right?
Can you just say if you'll defend it? I'm not saying if the U.S. military.
I'd prefer that they don't do it. I have a very good relationship with President Xi. We have been communicating with each other
since you were elected.
I mean, how about this? Instead of asking Trump if he's going to defend Taiwan, why don't y'all ever press China and ask them, can I just recognize Taiwan as a country that's not part of y'all? They're going to look at you and be like, nope.
Yes.
And you sent that message?
Since like 3 days ago. Yes, we communicate.
And you sent that message to him, don't invade Taiwan?
We didn't talk about that. Okay. We talked about other things. But I have a very good relationship, and I hope he doesn't do it.
This week, a federal court upheld a law that could result in TikTok being banned. You said you're going to rescue TikTok when you get into office. Are you going to take steps to protect it?
Yeah, and as you know, I use TikTok very successfully in my campaign. I have a man named TikTok Jackie who was very effective, obviously, because I won youth by 30%. All Republicans lose youth. I don't know why. Maybe it's changing. And last time we were down 30% with youth. This time we're up 35% with youth. And I use TikTok, so I can't really, I can't totally hate it. It was very effective. But I will say this, if you do that, something else is going to come along and take its place. And maybe that's not fair. What they're doing, and really what the judge actually said was that you can't have Chinese companies. In other words, they have the right to ban it if you can prove that Chinese companies own it. That's what the judge actually said.
So are you going to try to protect TikTok just very quick once you're in office?
I'm going to try and make it so that other companies don't become an even bigger monopoly.
Okay.
Because that's what happens.
We're winding down, and I know you have a plane to catch.
I do.
This is your first interview since
right.
you won the election.
Congratulations.
Yes,
I hope you do well.
congratulations to you.
I hope you do well with it.
Yes, and sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country
Oh,
is
but
deeply
you're-
divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will
Mhm.
you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No, never. I know. I ain't gonna lie. It's kind of crazy how I'm like, sweetheart, we have so much pressing things to worry about. You're mad that I'm not having conceded 2020. It's been passed. Y'all done got it off. Y'all rigged it. Y'all done got it off. Y'all got what y'all wanted. Why the hell do you need me to say, you got it? What you mean? America know that you got it. Y'all done rigged it. You got your man Biden in. Now he's out. What the hell I gotta sit there and be like, oh, it was official? Nah. If like, why the hell I gotta say it for you? If you believe it, okay, cool. Hold tight in that lie. All right. It's okay. It's okay. We don't care. We don't care what y'all think. Honestly, we don't. We don't care that y'all are mad that we don't accept that it was a fair election. We don't care. Because guess what? Trump 2024, baby. Too big to rig. And here's the thing, it doesn't matter if Trump sits there and be like, okay, yeah, I meant that I lost. Or he sits there and be like, no, fuck you, I won, period, point blank. You just stole it. It doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything.
No. No, why would I do that? But let me just tell you,
You
when
won't
you
ever
say the
concede.
country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No, I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me, he went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they're going around stealing elections, why
When you
didn't
say
they do it
Democrats
this
have
time?
control now?
Of the White House.
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
So you won't.
Too big to rig.
To the people who say that you're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020
no,
and they want to move
I have
on.
very
Is
capable.
that
I think
a
Pam
good
is going to
use
be
of
great.
precious resources?
By the way,
is that what you
just so
want
you
them
know-
to do?
Just so you know, I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh,
I
you're
wanna-
not. You're not
I
going
wanna
to do
do-
that.
I'm not interested. I have
Okay.
the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. I'm the president. But I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
Last two questions here. One of the things that made this campaign unprecedented and extraordinary were the horrific attempts against your life. 2 assassination attempts. Do you feel safe going into the White House
I
for
do.
the next 4 years? Why?
I have confidence in Secret Service. I know the people. I got to know a lot of them, and I have confidence. It was a bad moment. Something shouldn't have happened, but I have a lot of confidence, and they've really stepped it up. They were restricted from giving the look. I do a rally, and you were at many of them, and I'd have 50,000 people.
And we got
Joe would have a rally, and he'd have 30 people, and he had more Secret Service than me. My Secret Service was always asking for more manpower / women power.
Why? Because, well, the crowds he draw in are crazy. So the fact that they weren't giving him more manpower, honestly, it did show a little bit of, I ain't gonna lie, duplicity in the ways of, well, Secret Service. Because it's like, yeah, well, this man has more targets going for him. There's more rhetoric that would cause an assassination going towards him. So it's kind of crazy how we didn't want to give him no protection.
Were asking for more and more and more, and they couldn't get it. I'm not blaming them really, because they were always fighting for more people, and they wouldn't get. Now, boy, do we have it.
I know it was hard on your entire family. What can people expect from the First Lady in this second administration? What role will she play? She obviously had her Be Best campaign.
She's very liked, loved, and she's very respected. And she's a very solid person. And she devotes a lot of time to helping children. You know what she does. And she's got her Be Best deal that is incredible what she's done. Uh, the one thing I say, whether it's First Lady or my children did such a good job, and they were treated very badly by the press and others. Ivanka was unbelievable what she did, and she all she wanted to do is one thing: get people jobs. She could have been the UN secretary. I said to her, she would have been unbelievable. She's got the whole package for that, including right up there. She's as smart as they. She didn't want. She said, "Daddy, I want to work on getting people jobs." You know, she'd go to Walmart, she'd go to X such. She produced millions of jobs for people. Not glamorous. Most people didn't know she did it, and she was always being excoriated. And I said to my kids, "Don't come in. Don't come in. It's just."
You said to them, "Don't."
I said to them, "Yeah." I
But,
said,
but will you miss having them there? Or will it?
Bro, imagine how disrespectful it is. As a kid, like, I mean, like, bro, I can only imagine how Trump kids feel when they say, "Oh yeah, your mother don't love your dad, your mother don't love you. Yeah, your mom is just an escort and all this crazy stuff." Like, could you imagine some people just coming out that saying that about your mom just because of your dad? And here's the one thing they can't say about Trump's wife. That, I mean, hey, Trump know how to pick them. My man Trump knows how to pick his white women. I'll tell you that. And it's kind of funny that it kind of shows y'all kind of hate this man. He's rich, got a nice family, beautiful wife. Y'all haters. It shows because you guys sit there and say, "Oh, she's an escort. Oh, she don't love that man." I mean, shoot, she had a kid with that man. I think she had 2 kids with that man. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, if she didn't love this man, then why is she still with him after having a kid when she could easily divorce this man and she lives in America? Divorce this man, get all his money, take the kid and bounce. I'm just saying, if she didn't love this man, wouldn't that be such an easy move for her to do?
Feel different? They were your top advisors.
I'll tell you what, I'll miss them, and they're really competent. But I say, just go have fun, do your business, do whatever you want to do, but don't come in, because no matter what they did such a great job. Although I have to say, Lara did a phenomenal job as the head of the Republican National Committee, along with Michael.
What will the First Lady's role be, do you think? Will she continue her Be Best campaign?
She's a very elegant First Lady. She was a very successful woman before that in the modeling and other things, but in the modeling, very successful. The press, I can't say treated her unfairly. You know why? Because she's very popular. You would think if the press was unfair, like to me, the press was obviously unfair to me. The press, no president has ever gotten treated by the press like I was. And yet I got more votes than any Republican candidate in history, by far. It's not even close. So you say, what's that all about? The press has to straighten itself out, because honestly, it's lost all credibility. When that can happen, based on the press, I should have gotten no votes, none. And yet I got the highest number ever. And the reason is because I'm able to go on a show, even like yours, even though you're very hostile, I'm able to go on a show like yours. No, you are.
Well, hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
It's fair only in that you allowed me to say what I say. But, the answers, the questions are, pretty nasty. But look, because I've seen you interview other people like Biden. And
I've never interviewed President Biden.
When I say you, I'm talking metaphorically.
Okay.
I've seen George Stephanopoulos interview Biden. And he's a tough interviewer. It's the softest interview. I've seen CNN interview him. They give these soft, what's your favorite ice cream? It's a whole different deal. I don't understand why. You would think the press would like to see strong borders, great education, a powerful military, so we have a country left, and all these different things. And somehow they don't want to see that.
Let me ask you, hopefully you think this interview was fair. We spent a lot of time talking about your policy in your second administration. I want to ask you, sir, one final question. What do you want to say to Americans who didn't support you in this campaign?
I'm going to treat you every bit as well as I have treated the greatest MAGA supporters. There's never been anything like MAGA in the history of this country. These people are so dedicated to making America great again. It's very simple. And I'm going to treat them just the same as I treat MAGA. We're going to treat everybody good. We want success for our country. We want safety for our country. Our country's under.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. I say with me too. All we want is our country to get better. That's it. We have no hatred towards you guys. Well, apparently you got hatred towards us. We don't wish no ill will on y'all. We don't want y'all to suffer, but y'all wish that on us. So it kind of just shows like, bro, where's your heart at in all this? It's like you say you want the best for the country, but then you're wishing ill on half the country because they didn't vote the way you voted for. You can't say you was for the American people, but as soon as you found out the American people didn't vote the way you wanted to, is fuck them. Like, come on now. You were never for the American people. You were only for your ideology. And you just had the belief that most of the American people went along with that. Now that you don't have that ideology anymore, now what? Oh, what? We're all racist, sexist, anti-gay. We're all misinformed, uneducated because what? We didn't vote. We didn't vote like what? Like you did. Like think about
threat, as you know. We have a tremendous threat militarily because of the power of weapons and weaponry. It's a tremendous threat. Nobody talks about it, but it's a tremendous threat. I want to treat everybody the same. I want to treat them well. And at the end of this 4 years, and I have a big head start because I was there for 4 years fairly recently. A lot of bad things were done during the 4 years that I wasn't there, and mostly in what they've done in terms of our reputation overseas. Our reputation is so bad, so shot. I got to bring it back. And I also have to bring back civilization to our country. Our country is a crime pot, and we have to get rid of crime. We have so many things to do. We have to do the prices. We have to do all of that. But we have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to bring down crime. People have to be able to walk across the street and buy a loaf of bread without being shot. And that's going to happen. But what I say to them is, I love you, and we're going to all work together, and we're going to bring it together. And you know what's going to bring it together? Success. I saw that just prior to COVID coming in, I had polls that were the highest anyone. McLaughlin and Fabrizio said, George Washington.
Policy in your second administration. I want to ask you, sir, one final question. What do you want to say to Americans who didn't support you in this
Maybe y'all need to hear that one again.
campaign?
I'm going to treat you every bit as well as I have treated the greatest MAGA supporters. There's never been anything like MAGA in the history of this country. These people are so dedicated to making America great again. It's very simple. And I'm going to treat them just the same as I treat MAGA. We're going to treat everybody good. We want success for our country. We want safety for our country. You know, our country is under threat, as you know. We have a tremendous threat militarily because of the power of weapons and weaponry. It's a tremendous threat. Nobody talks about it, but it's a tremendous threat. I want to treat everybody the same. I want to treat them well. And at the end of this 4 years, and I have a big head start because I was there for 4 years fairly recently. A lot of bad things were done during the 4 years that I wasn't there, and mostly in what they've done in terms of our reputation overseas. Our reputation is so bad, so shot. I got to bring it back. And I also have to bring back civilization to our country. Our country is a crime pot, and we have to get rid of crime. We have so many things to do. We have to do the prices. We have to do all of that. But we have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to bring down crime. People have to be able to walk across the street and buy a loaf of bread without being shot. And that's going to happen. But what I say to them is, I love you, and we're going to all work together, and we're going to bring it together. And you know what's going to bring it together? Success. I saw that just prior to COVID coming in, I had polls that were the highest anyone. McLaughlin and Fabrizio said, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, if they came back from the dead and they ran as president and vice president, couldn't beat you, sir. We were doing so well. And I was getting along with the left. Let's call it the left. Would be nice. Okay, we're just going to call it. But I was getting along with people that you would consider liberal or progressive, as they like to say, at levels that I never thought.
And shout out Gerard says, thank you, man. Oh, you said, hope folks here enjoy the commentary, man. Yeah, I'm hoping they're enjoying it too. And if so, man, make sure y'all like the video, hit the 3 dots up there, and make sure to subscribe to the channel, man. We appreciate the support. We do this every night.
Though it was possible. And you know what it was? Success. Success was bringing the country together, and that's what I want to do.
We'll leave it there unless you'd like to say anything more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the honor
Very much.
of
Great
this
honor.
first interview.
Thank you.
I mean, it was a good interview. I got to give it to them because it's just so funny to me. And I think it's funny because he called it out. He's like, well, like, you were pretty reasonable. You let me